I'd like to thank Ben for that, you know, that great introduction. But one thing I'd like to say, though, about, this is serious about Ben. When I first moved here from Colorado in 2008, and I was getting ready for November for Obama, so for the election. So I went and I was going to do some poll watching. And so a friend of mine, Debbie Cooper, friend Alice at Amnesty International, she had me come to this organization, New York Democratic Lawyers Council. And I'll never forget that morning. You know, I was new to New York. We're down on the Lower East Side, I believe. And I'm at a polling place, and Ben walks up to me and he says, "Welcome to the team," and gives me a hug. And you know, and that's always stuck with me. Somebody being foreign in the city. When you move, you lived in Colorado for 35 years, you come to New York City, it's a culture shock. So, you know, it was very, very nice, very rewarding to have that from Ben. And he's been somebody that's supported us ever since then. And, you know, I work with, you know, poor African-American people who really don't vote. They don't believe in it. But every time we've called Ben, he's always been of help. He's been of assistance. And when you work with that community where people don't vote, so you're always, even by politicians of color, you're always taken for granted. You know, you have a certain loyalty and respect for people like Ben Kallos that still respond to you and still try to help you, even though there's no really political benefit from it whatsoever. So I just want to thank Ben for being there, for supporting us, and so I'm glad to support him as well. And you know, as far as the redistricting, yes, I am, you know, lead plaintiff. Have, you know, some attorneys here, like my attorney Dan Bernstein's here, Jeff White, people involved in the lawsuit. So it's refreshing after the judge has drawn the congressional maps to be in a place where I'm welcome. Because in Harlem right now, you know, with Charles being my congressman, people are a little bit disappointed in the redistricting process as it's, you know, been done. But it's something that's very, very important for several reasons. One, because it's important that the voters elect the legislators and not vice versa. And that's one of the key issues of our democracy, and that's one of the cornerstones of the democracy in this country. And that's why we feel, you know, independent and fair redistricting is important. And we also feel that it also benefits communities of color. You know, living in Harlem now, you know, it's now that the district is now, you know, it's 55% Latino. We have a very competitive race that we haven't had in a while. And that's something that's very important. You know, with one person, one vote. We need to build that all people should be represented. And this is something that I'm going to say, me personally, is, you know, it's not reflective of this campaign or anything, but, you know, before this map was drawn, there was situations that there would be nuclear war if, you know, African Americans, we didn't get our own district, but, you know, the judge decided to do what's best and fair, and, you know, just drew one district where now, you know, Latinos and African Americans will have to select their own leadership. And coming from Colorado, where right now, even though Denver is only 10% black, we have a black mayor, Michael Hancock. So I think this is a key point in you know, in our communities that show that we can work together, and it doesn't have to be everybody has to be segregated and have their own little areas or their own little district. So I think another added benefit separate aside of redistricting is that it's forcing people to have to work together and have to build coalitions, which I think we've gone away from in New York. So now, you know, we're able to work together and learn to, you know, see what happens. You know, see if other people other than your own ethnicity can provide leadership, like Ben has done when I've called him about situations in our community. He hasn't said, oh, well, you know, you need to call your representative or so-and-so. He said, how can I help? And that's what we want with fair and independent redistricting. We want people's votes to be counted, but we also want communities to have, you know, to be able to work together, and to be able to to be active in support and engaged in the democratic process. And I guess I talked to Ben about this. I guess the best thing to say is I'm going to read a quote from our U.S. Supreme Court Justice Kennedy, who I feel has basically he's had the perfect words to sum up what this fight is about in the future with redistricting. This is what he said in a brief case that dealt on partisan gerrymandering. He said, "The ordered working of our republic and the democratic process depends on a sense of decorum and restraint in all branches of government and in the citizenry itself. Here one has a sense that the legislative restraint was abandoned. That should not be thought to serve the interests of our political order, nor should it be thought to serve our interest in demonstrating to the world how democracy works. Whether spoken with concern or pride, it is unfortunate that our legislators have reached the point of declaring that when it comes to apportionment, we are in the business of rigging elections." That was, Supreme Court Justice Kennedy quoting the state senators from North Carolina. And that's what this is all about. It's a fight for fairness and equality. And, right now we've gotten the congressional maps, but now we're looking to deal with the state assembly maps and the state senate maps. And, the New York Times did an article how a majority blue state is able to keep the Senate mostly Republican. And a lot of this is through gerrymandering and disenfranchising like Black and Latino voters out in Long Island. So we're going to keep this fight forward to do what is right, to do what is fair, and to allow people to be able to have a voice in the democratic process. And it's so sad that we have to continue this fight in 2012, but the fight is here, and we're going to keep continuing that fight. And we hope that all of you will keep supporting us as we try and show the world that we are perfect, that we are a great model of democracy. And I appreciate people like Ben, Kallos, for supporting us in this fight and these efforts.
Any other questions on redistricting?
Yeah, Mark, you said you were disappointed with sort of the assembly votes in particular. You got all these Democratic assemblymen who care about supposedly all these issues, minimum wage, civil rights, yet they voted for a state Senate map that entrenches a Republican majority and basically stops everything that they supposedly care about from actually coming to place. Like, what's going on here?
Well, I'll be frank with you. I was sitting down and we were talking with Hazel Dukes, and the thing that probably hurt the most about that was that even though Hakeem Jeffries said we got to fight this by any means necessary, 20 members of the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic caucus said, voted for this map that disenfranchised African Americans and Latinos in Long Island. And I told Hazel Dukes, I said, well, what's the point of having a Black Latino caucus if this fundamental issue here, that's the whole, key. This is why, we started the Revolutionary War. For people, this is fundamental to our government and who we are. And I said, if we can't get this group to intervene on behalf of, when people of color are being disenfranchised, let's give, why have a Black and Puerto Rican caucus? And I think that's an issue that people don't want to deal with. But if these new maps have to be voted on again, it's an issue that the communities of color, we're going to have to hold their feet to the fire. And because this is just an issue that I think is non-negotiable. There's certain things that you just have to put the line in the sand. I know another assemblyman in Harlem said, well, he voted for it because his lines in Manhattan looked okay. But no, I think we have to now hold the legislators to a higher standard. And matter of fact, I believe when they signed the pledge, I believe they entered a contract with the voters anyway. A lot of people say, oh, that's just a political promise. I look at it as oral contracts that they make with the voters that they broke. And so I think we're going to have to hold them to a higher standard and hold them accountable, you know, to this, especially the legislators of color.
But do they have any core? If like they believe all these progressive ideals, yet they vote for an entrenched Republican map in the state Senate that stops all those things they supposedly care about from coming to pass?
No, it's like I said, we might as well just get rid of them, and you know, I don't see what, you know, I don't see the argument that there should be diversity in the legislature. I mean, they basically take that argument off the table, right? What's the need for diversity in the legislature then when you have situations like this, when they can't even be a little bit more sensitive to people that are being disenfranchised? Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, I'm from Colorado. I'm, you know, very comfortable and used to, you know, people that don't look like me anyway in the legislature. So, you know, matter of fact, my friend Terrence Carroll 2 years ago, he was the Speaker of the House in Colorado, the first African-American Speaker. He was the only black in the Assembly. But, you know, so to me, I would have more confidence in that group making the right decision on this issue than right now I'm going to have in the black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic caucus. You know, and that's why I met with Denny Farrell last week, and I expressed that to him in person.
Thank you.
Any other tough questions?